Alex Collier 4th and 5th density minus 1995. This part of the series is 4th and 5th density. I'm going to have to go to my notes because of real specific dates and things that they have given of probable times and things that are going to occur, and also other information. Now, we've covered a lot of information so far, to those 3 of you, who've been here on a regular basis. Do you have any questions about last Friday night? Okay. Hi, thank you. Giving us lighting in the back there. Okay, I guess we'll get started here. I'm Alex for those of you who don't remember. Okay, just a couple of things. Next week the topic of this lecture will be, We the People. It will deal specifically with the New World Order, and the things that are coming. There is a move that's higher. The ETs themselves were controlling everything, are really truly behind the scenes maneuvering. This isn't something that the bankers have concocted themselves. But next week's lecture, there's a lot of information, and I'll be giving you a big handout with the executive orders that have been signed, including some of the newer executive orders that Carter signed. And I hope they have something that Reagan signed as well. They're telling you how they are planning on suspending the Constitution and using the Executive Orders Act in order to do it. The structures have already been set up. As you probably are aware, the dollar is dropping like a stone. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but I'm just going to touch on this really lightly, because it's really next week. That the $20 billion that Clinton loaned to Mexico, he exercised Executive Powers Acts, and that money came from a special fund that was to be used to top up our dollar, shit against the tailspin that is in now. And he loaned this money to Mexico, and of course the peso continuing to drop because the money didn't go into Mexico's economy. It went to pay off the bonds and European bankers that European bankers had bought from Mexico. So we have no kitty, no reserve, nothing. The Japanese, the Germans won't buy any of our debts unless they raise interest rates. And of course if we raise interest rates we have another recession. So it's an absolute vicious circle. So folks, think about making yourselves liquid. Think about buying gold and silver. It's time, it's absolutely coming. In October, group of underscores, we don't have it. Said by one of the audience, just before I left tonight Alex, they mentioned on the news that the Fed is now considering raising interest rates as an inflationary move, and as of tonight, that's because they can't get anybody to buy the debt or a loan. They can't borrow any money, unless they raise interest rates. Because somebody has to pay for it, and it's us, it always is us, you know. The government is business, that's all it is. Alex. Said by one of the audience, group of underscores, absolutely. We'll all be in jail if we find out the way they do it. Alex. Alright. Now, 4th and 5th density. Do you remember in one of the earlier lectures, we talk about the new vibration? The new color sound vibration that's coming out of the black holes, which the Andromedan has referred to as the new 12th density, 12th creational density. I have some information that Morani has relayed to me regarding the changes that occurred on the 11th and now the 10th. And I don't have those with me, but I will bring them next week and it will be a part of the handout. So you can actually read it. Essentially, what's happened in the example that he gives, is he uses our spectrum of color and vibration, light vibration. We have 72 color frequencies within our third dimensional realm. Alright, 72. He says, and I don't know how many there are in the 11th. But he likened to that in an instant, our 72 color realm of frequencies and vibrations which make up us, which is all of these, is about triple in a second. And essentially, their consciousness went from this to this in a second. Now, he also goes on to say that they can only describe this much. They can only relate to this much. Now this is the highest consciousness dimensional realm in our universe. They cannot relate to any of this at all yet. They can't even describe it, there are no words yet, for it. He also says that it will be like if 1 million people had a UFO experience on the planet, 1 million people, and those same 1 million people came back. And not one of them could describe to the rest of us what happened, but just that something happened. That's what would be like. Apparently, that's what these beings here are experiencing. Now, they are trying to prepare themselves so that there's no interruption with us. Now it's not just us, there are other races that are having to deal with this as it's coming down. And he knows he's really frank about saying that it doesn't look like they're going to be able to describe to us exactly what they're going to experience. Because they don't know what it is to expect. Now I mention this. Q, excuse me, who exactly they, aliens, do they help people or? AC, yes, aliens. I'm sorry. Q, oh that's fine, I just didn't follow through it. And who is he? AC, Morani. Morani is the Andromedan extraterrestrial. AC, oh, I see, I'm sorry. Alright, the reason I bring this up is because everything in our world has been sped up. Everything. You're going to really start to see things sure to move. Now you're going to really see some incredibly positive things and you're going to see some incredibly negative things. Now it is important to understand this. The negative, or what we call negative, or what we judge as negative, is really blocked energy. Whether it's in us, whether in our planet, whether in our government, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter. It's blocked energy. Now, these frequencies that are hitting the planet, and it's light, it's a new vibration of light. We are moving from the 72 spectrum, we're moving up. It's being added all the time. Now the first thing to be affected is the physical, third-dimensional physicality, because your higher selves are already up in this frequency already. But the vibrations come down to the physical, which we call third density. What's happening is the physical is being bombarded with energies so that the physical can rise in frequencies, so that we can maintain some kind of physical form. Or graduate this entire realm that we know of, third density, is going to be graduating to fourth and then fifth. What will replace that, if anything? I don't know. Nobody seems to know exactly what's going after that. Now the energy is hitting here. For those of you, whether you want to believe it or heard the rumors, I happen to know to be a fact. And you'll just have to pay attention when the truth finally comes out and go, aha. Okay, the Earth is hollow. There is a sun, a very small sun inside that hollowness. And if I can ever get my slides together and get a slide projector, I will show you a picture of the North Pole. And you will see a ring of light like this at the very tip of the North Pole. And they say that is the aurora borealis, and it's caused by gas and particles of ice in the sky. I will promise I will have it together in a few weeks. Good. You just make up your own mind, okay? Questions now? No questions? Okay. Now, what's happening is the light is hitting first the sun. And what's happening is it's speeding up in vibration. Even our sun is speeding up in vibration. This is why there are more and more solar flares, and they're recording them every day. Even other suns, there's radiations. There's even concerns of certain suns in Perseus and Pegasus going nova. There are signs of it. It's because it's a graduation. It's a change. Now just because in third density, a sun goes nova and we see it as well as it's starting to die out, that's what our science says. Okay, to the Andromedan, no. What's happening is that it is leaving the third density, and as soon as it is going nova it is already on fifth density. It is now sun on fifth density. That is at its release into the higher vibration. The physical part of it dies away, because it can't be in two vibrations at once. This is literally what's happening with the Earth, but in a different way, because we're not a sun, we're a planet, we're physical. We have water, land masses, life forms on it. What's happening is that as this inner sun or inner core starts to speed up, it is throwing the energy out. It's taking it in and then it's throwing it out. Now, as it's throwing it out, because its energy is light, it can go through anything. Stone, steel, it doesn't matter because it's energy. It's thought. Well, you've got all kinds of pockets of negativity all over the planet and on the surface. The pockets of negativity that are in the planet, a lot of it is pollution. It's nuclear waste that's been dumped in crevasses in the ocean. Or buried deep underground, or volcanoes. Or it is the way the Earth's way of hurting itself is, it will create volcanoes and lavas and will just release this energy because she's alive. Or this is what she's doing. She's going to start bleeding the energy big time. Watch, it really starts to speed up, August, September, October, November, December. Now a year and a half ago they said that portions of Japan, there was a very high probability that portions of Japan would sink by the end of May. I hope it doesn't happen, but they just have another 6.2 last night. Okay, so keep an eye on that. They also said that Bill Clinton was going to resign by the end of May because of some scandal that's going on the side. He would have to resign. I hope it's true, that part I hope it's true. Okay, so this is what it's all about. Now what's happening on the fourth density level? There's a great misconception in metaphysics about fourth density. There are a lot of people that throw that out there because it's hip. But they don't really know what it means. Now, fourth density is awareness. It's consciousness. It's knowing yourself completely, and knowing your neighbors completely. It's about becoming real. That's what fourth density is. This chair will still be a chair in the fourth density. Your sweatshirt, my tie, will still be a tie in fourth density. We still have to eat, we still have to drink the lousy water. What it is, it's about consciousness. It's about everybody suddenly getting in touch not only with themselves, but with each other and with the Earth. It's like everybody is suddenly becoming psychics. Having their own psychic hotline. It'll just happen. Now, not everybody is going to physically survive the changes. Not everybody in this. Some have chosen not to be here for it. Some have chosen to go to some other realm. They've decided it isn't time for me to graduate. That's fine. Others haven't, they'll be here. But the last time I asked this question, which was approximately a year ago, they said that between 435 and 510 million people would literally move to 5th density, December 3, 2013. Now I have to tell you, I'm a bit confused regarding this number, and it's not that I don't believe them. It's just that there are many psychics and other ET races that discuss 2024, 2031, other numbers like this. According to the Andromedans, and I can only give you that because that's all I have contact with. They said that by December 3, 2013 the planet and the race will be in 5th density. But I'm not going to tell you about 5th density yet. We're going to talk about 4th density. Now, according to them, the planet has tried to get into 4th density with humanity on it twice before. And twice before, there was a terrific and terrible war. The last time was when Atlantis sank. And Atlantis sank because it was at war. Partially with itself, but it's also at war with the rest of the world. The other time prior to that was Lemuria. When it sank and was destroyed by the Atlanteans. So everything is a circle. It always comes around full circle. Now, if you look at the Book of Revelations, it predicts another terrible war. And as I've said before, the Andromedans have said, everything is a belief system. And that if we buy into it, we will self-fulfill the prophecy. That we could change anything, that none of these catastrophes really have to happen. None of them. The Earth has to release this energy that she's been carrying. We can make it a hell lot easier for her if we work for that, if we become really responsible with the Earth. But that's not likely to happen. I mean, I would love to have that happen, you know. But I drove around Anaheim today, you know. We were here in Santa Monica and you just walk the streets. It's not likely that suddenly, everybody's going to get consciousness. It just isn't likely to happen. You know, something's going to have to happen to get everybody's attention. I promise you, that's coming, okay. Now, the physical form, 4th density, you were talking about consciousness. Consciousness is not in the brain. It's in the energy field. It's in your aura. That's who you are. They can take your brain out, put it backwards, upside down, sideways, cut portions of it away and you'll still be you, because the brain just animates the body. Your thought does not originate in the mind. It's right here. This is the portion of you that dissipates at the moment of death. From 1 ounce to 4 ounces, that's recorded the moment of death of the body. That's this, right here. This is also changing. Because the frequency that is hitting the planet is so light, so high, it's really love. You can use the term love. So instead of light, I will say love. The physical body has blocks in it. If you're holding on to stuff from childhood, from teenager, from your last marriage, from the fight that you had with your older son, it could be anything. It's going to come up. Exactly what's going to happen to the Earth is going to happen to us, each of us individual, because we're conductors as well. Just like you are these. So if you have blockages, some of it could even be past life. You have blockages, it's going to come up. Which mean, some of you might get sick, some of your friends might get really sick, but it doesn't mean they are being punished. It's part of healing. It's the only way the body knows how to release it, because it hasn't been dealt with. And not every one of us knows how to deal with the energy. We haven't been taught how to deal with this kind of a thing. This is why the ETs, whether the Pleiadians, the Syrians, the Andromedans, those from Tau Ceti, from the Aldebarans, they're disgusted with our religions. Because they are 450 years behind where we should be. They have been a shackle because they haven't prepared us for what's coming. And two in particular knew what was coming, but a lot of that information has been suppressed. And the reason it's been suppressed is because that kind of information makes you a lot free. More responsible, and the freer you become, the more responsible we become, the less control they have over you. It's that simple. That's what this is all about. The divine plan, I've said this over and over again, is one of freedom. It is not bondage, slavery. It is none of it. You can still be part of an entire community, be a part of the community, work with the community, work for the community, help the community, and still be a sovereign individual. To do what you want to do, when you want to do it, to think your own thoughts. And I realize it sounds like a simple concept, but you'll be surprised as how there are certain individuals who control our world, that don't think that's a good idea. And what's interesting is the fact that they don't think that it's a good idea for you and they don't want us to do it. They've imprisoned themselves as well, without even realizing it, because now they think they have control. And control is its own jail. If you try to control another, you're in your own jail as well. Because now you got to worry about what they were doing. You got to pay attention to what they were doing all the time now. What a waste of time. Before I get to the dates and all of that, some of the changes that they've said are going to occur in the next 10 years, I've read some of that last week. We talked about. I am going to cover this again. When we move into fourth density, now according to them, we're already starting. The major significant changes will occur between 2004 and 2009. Some of us will be there sooner. Now we were talking about knowing things are going to happen. When the phone rings, it will just be a natural thing, you already know who's on it. If the door knocks, you already know who it is. You'll think of your sister and she'll call. You'll just be in tune like this, all the time. You will not be in a position to say, what a coincidence? It won't be a coincidence, and you will already know it. You will come to a place of knowingness. That it isn't a coincidence, it's divine order. In other words, we'll all be in the club, most of us. Group of underscores, most of us will be in the club. Now it doesn't mean we're not going to have our challenges, we're definitely going to have our challenges. There's going to be war on the planet. There's still going to be crime. There's still going to be people who don't understand what's happening. There are still going to be people clinging to their religions and begging for someone to come and save them. And they may in their own way create that. They may create a savior. And for those of you who are new here, the Andromedan perspective is, don't wait for anybody to save you, be your own savior, because that's the only way you permanently evolve. It's the only way. And even the saviors in the past didn't come here to save anybody. They came here to teach. So are the expectations that millions of people have on the planet that somebody's going to come down here and solve all the problems. It isn't going to be like that at all. It's not going to be like that at all. And if there's a Jesus Christ, I bet if he comes back, he's going to be pissed off, or one of them. I mean, you know, I could just picture walking into the Vatican and saying, look what you did with what I gave you. You know. What is all this? What are all these paintings? What's all this gold? What are all these stupid hats that you wear? What is this shit? This isn't what I gave you? Yeah, this isn't what I gave you. They've said September, between September and October of next year, 1996. Absolute proof of extraterrestrial life. Now that doesn't mean the rumors you're going to hear between now and then. Forget the rumors. Absolute proof, that's the word they used, which mean we were going to see something. We were going to see CNN or Geraldo Rivera, never mind. That'll be absolute proof. And our government, the United States government, will introduce them. So folks, put your shields up automatically. Well, the alien probably will be real, but the message might be fake. You will know them by their deeds. It's the old adage. Now if it's a gray, they've been here a long time, they've been here 60 some odd years. This place not gone better, it's gone worse. Remember that. They said sometime in 1997, they will try to convince everybody not just in the States but on a global level to get an implant. I know the Book of Revelations discusses the mark of the beast. It will be an implant. The Andromedan's perspective of this is you do not allow yourself to be implanted, because it is a tag of ownership. In their consciousness, they're tagging you, they're implanting you to tag you as a sign of ownership. So for the record, the other ET races, they're no implants, they don't implant their own. Q. Will they be gray? AC. Anyone dealing with the Orion Group. 1999, at the Giza Pyramid, all the world leaders supposed to meet to welcome the millennium, December 30th, 31st and the 1st. They said there is a high probability that they will put on a holographic show. Holographically projected to the sky and try to play out a stage second coming. They have the ability to do it. You know, we've heard rumors. CJ went to some kind of a show, she brought back this Inside Science catalog, which is part of the show's programming. Inside there, they make reference to, and I'm going to research this, the fact that they already made a full-feature holographic movie. They've already invented holographic television. Now the fact that they have made a holographic movie means that they have a holographic projector of some sort. Now the conditions are right, you can bounce it off a cloud, and it will look like a real face. It'll be like a movie screen like they do at Disneyland. With the water, you know Fantasia, when they shoot the water up and they use it as a movie screen. The technology's there to do this. They could do it tonight. The image would be that of the Shroud of Turin. And he will speak of all the philosophies, metaphysics, but he will strongly preach the Hindu philosophies. Now the thing about the Hindu philosophies is that not only are they one of the oldest, but they do come directly from extraterrestrials. They say it, they describe it, they talk about the ships, they talk about the many gods, all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, there's only one big chief. The rest are little Indians. We were little Indians. Okay, our court systems will change. All the juries will clairvoyance, and clairaudience. You will walk up, you will state your case and the jury will see because they will be able to see the energy field, who's lying and who isn't. Who's telling the truth, who isn't. And it'll be judged based on that. You will not have the fiascos like we're having now. Or the distractions. I want to change that, Or the destructions that we're having now, like the O.J. Simpson thing. Q. Is that year 2000? AC. It should be between 2004 and 2009. Now what will happen when the Earth moves into fourth density herself? She's not there yet. Neither are we. When the Earth moves into fourth density, she will be able to start to heal herself. Which means she won't need our help. This is why it's paramount that between now and 2004 we do everything we can, at least on a conscious level. Be consciously aware, maybe the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, even if it's just this. When you wake up in the morning you say, Earth, I love you. Even if that's the only thing you do, it's a thought, it's energy. It really does make a difference. The smallest things make a profound difference. And we're not taught that, but they really do, because we don't see it. She has got to move into fourth density in order to start to heal herself. That means there's going to be some shaking, some rocking, and some rolling. But these are good signs. All the negativity is going to come to the top. And as Michael Tomlinson says, so it can all be replaced with love. You can't have all this love and darkness all bottled up inside, because they constantly bounce off each other. Because they are two opposite polarities. And this is the problem she's having now. This is why the negativity is coming to the top, because the Earth is rejecting it. They've also said that by the year 2004, the obituary pages of most major newspapers will be 10, 12 and even as much as 20 pages long. Now, it's going to affect everybody. The least affected will be children. The most affected, significant, the sex to be affected or a physical being, will be the males. We talked a little about it last week. I'll say it again for these group of underscores. Q. Are old people senior citizens? AC. I'm sorry? Q. Senior citizens, old people will be affected. AC. No, it's going to be males. They specifically said the males. They have referred to us as being self-imposed loneliness. The male energy has been totally irresponsible with the planet. Now the Earth is definitely female. When she start blowing off this energy, it's not going to be selective. It doesn't matter. When this energy hits, it's not looking for just the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. It's looking for just the male energy, because we have not been responsible. And even though it wasn't us maybe in this lifetime, we don't know if it was us in the past. You got to understand, the Earth has been holding the energy since its inception. Since it was first created. And the Andromedans in their history, they state that the moment the consciousness or the idea or the planet itself starting to form is gas, that's when it's first created. That's how they record it, because it all comes down from spirit first into the physical. It doesn't start on the physical and go up. Now for us, we were just going back home. We all came from a higher realm then. We were being dragged literally by the scruff of our pants back home, kicking and screaming. Now when this energy comes up, they said that a lot of males will have sudden brain aneurysms, sudden strokes, sudden heart attacks, and just cross over. There will be some females this happens to. But it's going to predominantly affect a large portion of the males. That's at least half the population of the planet. Just to finish my thought on this, they say the planet is 9.1 billion years old. Not 3.7 billion years old. That's the physical part of it. That's not when it first decided to create itself. And that's how they measure it. And that's why they say that all of us as in essence are ageless. Because there's no way to record that, because we all come from someplace else, other than this universe. That must group of underscores. I'll repeat this again. They stress that consciousness in their concept of consciousness is time and space. So the way they teach it, consciousness is just the space in which we continue to evolve. That's what our universe is. All of us created the universe that we're in now, so that we can continue to play our games, to continue to evolve. If we were all evolved, this universe wouldn't be here, there would be no need for it. We'll all be sitting by the fire, drinking cosmic martini or something forever. I'm sure there would be fruit juice there too. The two polarities are going to become more and more pronounced, particularly between now and 2004. Extremely pronounced. A lot of folks will just get the call to leave the cities, to leave their towns. They will start forming small communities. A lot of this will be done prior to get ready for survival. And last week, we talked a lot about some of the other changes, the viruses and all the other things. Tuberculosis making a comeback and why that is. You will have people in your life just leaving. You will just be letting go of people in your life because they were in another vibration. There will be people who would judge you terribly because you're not waiting for a savior, because you won't follow Mother Church. Or for their own stupid reasons because you don't pay your taxes, or it could be anything. Or you won't wear your red shirt. It could be anything. Let them go. Anybody who cannot allow you to have your truth without judging you, you have no basis for anything. Just bless them, love them and send them on their way. somebody else will fill that space. Like minds attract each other. Positive energy attracts more positive energy. Negativity attracts more negativity. But the thing about negativity is that you pull out these negative energies together and there's no positive energy there. They'll feed off each other. And the blessing there is, they eliminate each other. We don't have to do a thing, as long as you don't let them siphon off our energy. Because that's the only way they can continue to survive. Negativity, the negativity does not create its own light. It has to steal it. And if you give them no fuel, it burns out. Alright, now I'm going to talk about the physical form. Those of us who stay in tune, stay with the flow. We'll have our own problem at first. I had some blockages and I had a hernia operation, so hopefully I've dealt with it and that's the end of it. But other people will have other kind of problems. Now I'm going to talk about cancer. We know it as a virus, a growth. It takes a lot of people, kills a lot of people. The Andromedans have a very interesting take on cancer, this disease cancer, group of underscores. They say that when we were genetically created, altered to be the human form that we are now by our genetic forefathers, and I'm going to give you three primarily. There's the Sirians, Pleiadians, Aldebarans, and Orions and Draconians. I'm sorry the handwriting's terrible, that's why I mentioned it. Sirians, Pleiadians, Aldebarans, Orions and Draconians. Now I have one more, Ritculans. Now those are from Zeta 1. These Ritculans are from Zeta 1. It's not the little jerks that are here from Zeta 2. Now Cancer Cell, we have the Pleiadians to thank for that. They were the last to do significant genetic alterings. In order to speed up the process, they added a specific kind of gene. The gene was to speed up the metabolism and the building of the tissue and the muscle, and the organs. In other words, it was a turbo for genetic growth. It was a turbo booster. Now this was approximately 32,117 years ago. We've been around a lot longer than that. 13,000 years ago, the Orions and the Draconians, what we have been told is the serpent race. See if I have a picture with me. Okay, this is the Draconians. Pass it around, they were known as the serpent race. They genetically altered us again but they didn't add anything. We had 12 strands of DNA. They took 10 strands out of DNA. This was done for the simple and only reason of control. It's the only reason it was done. The DNA strands had racial memories of all of our true spiritual facilities. It also was the blind. When we reincarnate and we don't remember who we were, that's because the memory, the code of remembrance was taken out as well. This is why we all now have to dig into our subconscious. To dig out those memories as opposed to it being readily available to all of us. Now these 10 strands of DNA specifically dealt with spiritual energies, spiritual remembrance of energies. They weren't necessarily ours, it belonged to our forefathers. It contains racial and genetic memory that the body would know what to do when a specific energy hit it. The body would be able to adjust and conduct the energy. So everybody follow me so far? Because these are out, were taken out, we don't have the memory what to do with the energy anymore. The physical body doesn't. So what happens is the one gene that was left, or one of the genes that was left that still have the program to grow was the cancer gene. We call it cancer. This is why it is so out of control, because this energy that's hitting the planet is triggering this gene. Now this gene would not be a problem at all if we have the other 10 strands, because the body will know how to conduct the energy. But it doesn't anymore. All it knows is to grow. And when it continues to grow and grow and grow, where it's not needed because the body isn't changing the rest of it, it becomes a cancer. What we call cancer. Okay, alright, I like it, ozone. Great for lightning storm, that makes ozone, we need plenty of that. Okay, are there any questions on this part that I just covered? Yes. Q. Group of underscores, Book of New Societies, it mentions that our planet was evolving into 12-strand mode from a 2-strand mode. AC, I've been told that it isn't exactly right. I'll just say that I don't know what's going to happen. We'll all find out together. The Andromedan perspective is, we don't need the 12 strands anymore, that our bodies are so adaptable because of the original 22 extraterrestrials manipulating in the racial memories that we already do have. That basically we were going from 2 to 3. But the third one will encompass the other 10. It will be just one more strand. Because in order to build, and I asked how come we don't need the other 10? He said well, it will take another 35,000 years our physical form to grow the 10 strands. So what our bodies will do, will adapt by growing one. You see now, this is why, and I covered this last week. This is why the benevolents are so interested in making sure we make it. It is because of our genetics. And I'll just go over this again for the new people because I'll be talking about this. They said originally, we have been genetically altered by 22 different races. They colonized, they've done biological things and then left. Some have stayed for a long time, some for just 60, 50 years, which to an ET who lives for several thousands is just a weekend. That we have in our DNA all of these racial memories, and our bodies are incredibly adaptable. I mean, we live in an environment that none of the ETs themselves could live in. It's so polluted, and yet our civilization continues to thrive. Now what's happening is, and I'll use the Andromedans themselves, their bloodlines, their race is so pure in their bloodline that they are actually now starting to show signs of weakness because of so much interbreeding. So they need a genetic boost. Those from Tau Ceti need a genetic boost, we'll need one. You know, I don't know, 100,000, a million years. The Greys desperately need one. That's why they came here, and one of the reasons why they came here. We're the genetic boost. We're the only ones that can do it. And this is why they refer to us as royalties. Because not only do we have this, but we're also spirit. We're also part of the ascension. We have the best of both worlds. The last shall be first. Right now we're at the end of the line, but it isn't going to be that way for long. Now with all the information comes responsibility. And we cannot graduate to these levels to where we can become teachers and blast off to space carrying a couple of nuclear warheads just in case somebody attacks us. Or invite the ETs down with 70,000 nuclear warheads on the planet, you know. Based on a computer that they hope doesn't launch them. I mean, you know, there are things that we have to change. So this is, you know, they want us to grow up. Q. Are other races using them? AC. They do, but they don't deal with nuclear weapons at all. Even the Orions and the Draconians no longer use nuclear weapons because they are so dangerous. Now, we'll talk. Discuss that since it's up here. They use sound, they use color, use laser, use light. A nuclear weapon, here's what I've been taught about a nuclear weapon. Now on third density, the part that we see, it burns everything within so many square miles. It just fries it. It also creates radiation, which lasts a long time. It can also blind people because of the brightness, okay? This is what it does on the third density. Is anybody wants to guess what it does on fourth and fifth density? Anybody want to take a guess? AC, it group of underscores the vibratory level or density? Alex, that's exactly what it does on fourth. You're absolutely right. That's exactly what it does. It disturbs all thoughts, all consciousness everywhere because everything is connected. Q, it makes changes to timeline? AC, you're close, you're close. Q, your soul. Evolutionary soul? AC, no. Now, okay, there are levels. This is third, this is fourth, this is fifth. Okay, there's frequency bands that separate each other. A nuclear weapon literally burns a whole group of underscores. It's exactly right, it implodes space. And we have 70,000 of those little puppies here on this tiny little planet. We can destroy the entire solar system 9 times over. We didn't do right the first time, we can do it again and again and again. This is why they don't come and land. You know, if you gave your 5-year-old son a loaded gun, you're going to deal with this very carefully and intelligently, aren't you? Well, that's exactly how they see us. As little children with huge guns, which are nuclear weapons. Now, we were not the first to use nuclear weapons on the planet. In reality, during the Orion Wars there was a group called the Black League, or a group of Pleiadians, the Syrians and others who came together to a resistance. A freedom-fighting force who actually brought nuclear weapons to the planet Earth and used them here. My only caution about all the ET information, and I'm putting the Andromedans in this too, even though I personally have separated them, but I'm just putting it out there, especially the Pleiadians, as they have misrepresented themselves many times on the planet to us. I'm not saying they're doing that now, but that's their history. I'm not saying that's now. I want to make it really clear, okay? But ask questions. Get a specific answer, and if you can't get specific answer, ask why you can't get specific answer. You follow me? If I don't have specific answer for you, I don't know, and I'll tell you that. And when I go back, whenever I hear from them and I ask them, if I remember the question, there's some things that they won't even talk to me about. And they say it's for my sake because they know I'll talk about it. So I don't know, all I know is we were definitely in a mess and they don't want to come down here and rescue us and save us. The simple reason is, they don't want to babysit. We do not permanently evolve, and if something goes wrong, we got somebody to blame. We take ourselves off the hook. Well, it's their fault, they did it. Right? We'll all look at each other, yeah, that's right. Right. You know. They'll get on their ship and say, the hell with this. Boom, and they're out of here. Maybe somebody else will take their place, until we get it together as a race, as a planet. Until we call the shots. You know, with the whole race, we'll stand there and say, you know. Who the hell are you? You know, we have a government that will say, well, somebody's coming. Do we want to talk to them? Well, let's find out who they are. And everybody's part of the decision on some level. When we get to fourth density, that'll definitely be the case. We will all be part of the decisions on the planet because we will already know what's going on, because we will be in tune, we will be in touch. We'll have televisions in our minds, short waves in our minds, all those things. And these, all the changes that we will be going through August 12, 2003 ADQ, anybody who remember from the lectures what that date is? AC, when the aliens are going to get off the planet. Right, the Andromedan Council, which is a galactic United Nations, has essentially told all extraterrestrials on the planet regardless of who they are, whether they're light or dark, they want everybody off the planet. Out of the planet and off the moon by August 12, 2003. They don't want any extraterrestrial influence here at all. And some of them have been here for a very long time, manipulating and controlling us. Now, the reason is this: even though we have contact, there is going to be a period between 2003 and 2008, 4 to 5 years that we will be on our own, literally on our own. I asked Morini, why? His response was, we want to see how you are going to act with each other. When you are not being manipulated. Now, we're in fourth density, we're in fourth now when this is occurring. We still have the polarities. We have the two polarities all the way up until sixth density. Intermingled with each other, two energies intermingled. So for here this portion of the time, they want to see how we are going to act with each other. This is our test, this will be our test. This will probably be, in my hope, when we truly create a real people's planetary government. If not, we're going to have the same bump we have now. And we all know that doesn't work. So this is significant. This is very significant. Now we will probably be getting some help, they'll definitely be watching us. But my understanding is there will be no intervention, whatsoever. Now let's talk about this right here. This is significant because there are some groups here that don't want to leave. They don't want to let go of control. They're addicted to control. They're addicted to siphoning off our energies. To living off of us, so they're not going to go. They're not just going to say give up their possessions and leave. Or give up their caves underground, or their bases that our government was kind enough to build for them, thank you very much. So, there is a plan. There is a plan to remove them from the planet. So between 2003 and 2004, which the Book of Revelation calls War in the Sky. This could in fact be a reality. I understand that Andromedans themselves, the Syrians and the Palladians will be specifically doing this operation when it comes down to that. And the operation is to enter both poles, and drive the Ets out to the surface where they will be removed. Q. Physically. AC. Physically. Now that means we are going to see some funky stuff. And there's definitely funky stuff living in the Earth. It isn't us. It doesn't like us. Didn't like us from the beginning. There's definitely stuff here, ET energy here. So you may actually see a picture in a National Enquirer, it will be the truth. It'll be a real picture. They were really about an alien this time. Now, there's also one of the significant thing, that's the moon. The Andromedans consider our moon an artificial satellite. Now their definition of an artificial satellite is that it can literally move and fly and change its orbit under its own power. And there is a very strong possibility that we can lose the moon. Audience, no more full moon. Well, you know, the moon was brought here 12,000 years ago. The Mayans actually have it recorded that it showed up one night. It's here, it's part of the Earth history, part of the Earth's records, but they don't discuss it because it suggests that it was controlled. Because nothing else happened, it just showed up. And based on the size of it and the weight of it, and the gravitational pull of the Earth, the moon should be a hell of a lot closer to us. And it should also be rotating on its axis, which it doesn't. And the reason that we only see one side of the moon is because built into it are weights on the far side, so that it doesn't rotate. Now the Earth has a magnetic energy to it, a magnetic flux. These waves are magnetized. There is a natural resistance between the two. And also our moon is not perfectly round like this. It actually is round in the front, but it's shaped like this. That's what the far side looks like. Similar to Phobos. Phobos is another artificial moon. I mean, they openly talk about that. Even NASA has said what we think is an artificial. They don't want to describe. What do you mean artificial? Is it a Buick, Chrysler? What is it? It just don't add, you know. Q. Did the Andromedans state a reason for that? AC. For what? Q. The shape. AC. Well, it used to be another moon. Apparently, our moon was brought here under control power and forces from Ursa Minor, where it was one of the moons in a solar system where it has 17 planets, and our moon is one of 4 moons. That's why if you do some research, it's older than the Earth physically. It has different materials and makeup than the Earth. It has elements that we don't have on our planet. The rocks are older than the Earth. The soil is older than the rocks, and it's made of entirely different composition than the rocks. It's wonderful. It's everything we were told it isn't. So, that's a possibility. Now they've said that if it came down to a shootout. Now the moon is controlled by the Greys and the Orions, a group from Orion. There's 9 races there, and it was another lecture. If it's necessary, what they will do is they will hit it with a tractor beam and they will literally pull it towards Jupiter and deal with it out there. And Moraine had described to me, their beam, that once they captured this, nothing can leave or come in. Whatever's on the surface or in it is stuck there until it gets to Jupiter. And you know, once they turn off the switch, all hell breaks loose. That's just a given, I think, at this point. Anyway, they are going to pull it towards Jupiter and deal with it there, because if it were to be destroyed so close to us, it would cause tremendous havoc. It will cause the planet to pole shift, and it could jeopardize all life on the planet. And they're not going to go these great lengths to help us and then destroy it over something stupid like this. They said that. He said, look, that there's plenty of planets. Even Moraine said there are plenty of other things that are floating around out there. If you guys were really stuck that you want a moon, we can bring one here to you. That's their attitude. No big deal. Sure, there just won't be a tide. Now, that's 4th density. All this is going on 4th density. Q. What will be happening on Mars, with them there? What are they going to do in Mars? Group of underscores. AC. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with Mars. Mars is very active, folks, by the way, very active. There are non-benevolent forces on Mars right now, regressive forces, dark forces that are turning. Group of underscores on Mars right now. There are benevolent forces on Venus and towards the Sun. Where Mercury is, here's the Sun, we have Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars. There is also another small structure orbiting the Sun. They mentioned it once or twice a couple of years ago. They loosely call it Vulcan. Folks, it's a mothership, it belongs to the Andromedans. It is a mothership, which is why sometimes it's there, sometimes it isn't. Q. How close to the Sun is it? AC. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Q. Between the Mercury and the Sun? AC. It doesn't matter. When they're in a unified field space, electromagnetic space, nothing bothers them. Q. Group of underscores. AC. No, not at all, because you're in your own time and space when you put a unified field around yourself. You are ambivalent to anything outside your unified field. You are not subject to time and space when you are inside a unified field. Besides, all their craft are powered by hydrogen. That's what the Sun puts out. So they are just charging their batteries. So they are here, and they're on 2 moons of Saturn and 3 moons of Jupiter and 1 moon of Uranus. They have said that 8 moons in our solar system are artificial. They've also said that there is organic and microscopic life, not that we can detect with our limited sciences, but as there is on 7 planets and 15 moons on our solar system. There's some kind of life already out there. That shouldn't surprise anybody. Now, new stuff for some of you. Universe is shaped like this. There's matter all in here. There are voids here. We talked about this last week, but I'm just going to mention this for the new people. Sometime between 2003 and 2011 we are going to see the creation of a galaxy in our universe. We are literally going to witness a Big Bang. Now, according to the Andromedans, all the galaxies that we have, underneath them, is a black hole. That's what grounds the galaxy in its place, so keeps it from just freely moving all over the place, although some of them appear to be doing that now. Everything, all mass, came out of these black holes. Black holes are portholes in time and space to some other realm that we all came out of. Which is why we're ageless. This is why the scientists are seeing stars older than the universe. It's because they were created someplace else. So we're going to see that. It'll be hailed as a sign. Religions will go wild. In the Andromedan perspective, this is a very, very significant thing because they themselves have never witnessed it, but they've been told what's going to happen by higher sources and higher realms that they listen to or deal with. So they were looking forward to this. Now some galaxies are starting to move. The Andromedan galaxy, which is 2.2 million light-years away, and our galaxy are actually starting to move closer together. Now our galaxy is not the one who's moving. So I want to make that clear, ours isn't moving. The Andromedan galaxy is moving, and the reason it's moving is because the black hole that's been anchoring it is closing. It's closing, it's lessening its gravitational pull, its hold in time and space. Which means that the galaxy will start to move. It's being drawn towards us. Now they also said that in another galaxy in our vicinity will also be doing this. At some point in the forever future, in eternity, however long it is, The black hole that holds our galaxy together before it happens that all of us go into it, or go someplace else. All the galaxies in our sector will come together and we will become one huge galaxy of billions and billions of life forms. I won't be in this physical form to see that, and I won't even go to Vegas, and bet none of you will either. Q. We will not worry about species going extinct. AC. Our species. Q. We'll come back. Group of underscores. AC. Now fifth density. We move to fifth density. This is what I've been told what fifth density is. And I want to preface this by saying that every dimensional level, whether it's fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, or 11th and now 12th, if all of us were right now in fifth density within that dimensional realm of time and space, we would have some type of physicality. It's different than what we know here, but there is a physicality to it within that realm. You're not just little puffs of smoke. You can create and manifest anything you want. There are life forms, there's vegetation, there's flowers, there's music, there's a physicality. It's just completely different than this. When we reach fifth density, our physical bodies will become light. You know the movie Cocoon? Our bodies will become like that. We'll become like that, except we'll be able to pass through walls and things like that. We won't have to eat veggies or canned burgers anymore. You won't have to drink water, all you need is the sun. That will be your life force. Now when we move into fifth density, our solar system will have 27 planets in it. They are already there, but we just don't see it. That's the parallel universe, or the parallel galaxy, or a parallel solar system, parallel Earth. It's already there, so what happens is the two come together. We will have 27 planets. It will be over us. It will be like a holographic view. It will be like living in a holographic impression or projection. Jupiter will become a sun. In fact, in its future it already is. It'll be like group of underscores. We will not have day or night. It will be day and twilight. The Earth's physical form will experience a pole shift. When this occurs, the moment it occurs, it'll be a physical pole shift. The new North Pole will become Saudi Arabia. And just off the coast of South America will be the South Pole. The Earth will experience a lot of rain, a lot of changes. She will still be a physical. She's still fourth density. She'll still be a physical. Now not everybody at the same time is going to move into fifth density. There will still be some people who are physical. They will be able to see you, you will be able to see them. It's just that they're going to have to use the door, where you won't. Until they all move up to the same vibration. The stars in the sky will increase 10,000-fold. And that's the number he said, 10,000-fold. But there are already 100 trillion galaxies they've been. I don't know, I don't think there'll be much more room for more, but apparently there is. Q. Is that in our reality, or just an awareness of this? That 10,000-fold. AC. No, we will be aware of it, we will see it. We will be physically be a part of it. Q. Are they there now? We just can't see it. AC. Yes. We will discover billions of different life forms that been on the planet that we could not see or detect. As it gets close to that time of fifth density, and this is really cute, the way that Marani did this. People will, it'll be an everyday occurrence to start seeing ghosts. Those are people who are trapped here. When we move into fifth density, they will all be taken out and they will go somewhere and they'll be free from the Earth. I don't understand exactly how it's going to work. But you will finally see ghosts that may have been living in your house, or your grandparents' house, or walk in your neighborhood forever, but you didn't know was there. If your house or your neighborhood was built under an Indian burial ground, you will actually know for sure then, because you will be able to see them. You will definitely see them and feel them as well. It's like becoming a television antenna, and as you flip your frequency or your mindset, you'll pick up different channels, which are completely separate from all the others at the same time, but still all part of you. That's what it's going to be like. Many of our drugs that we have now are not going to be working much longer because the physical body, its frequency is changing. The drugs that we have now simply will not work. All of major medicine is going to have to move in color, light and sound. That direction. It has to move in that direction because that's what will be coming. The physical form is losing its density, and those drugs that suppress symptoms of the physical body will simply be not effective at all. It just won't work. In fact, I understand it's already happened. But they're saying is because the body is adapting to it. Q. Group of underscores. AC. That's true, but the only reason the viruses are mutating is because due to the lack of oxygen we have. For those of you, the new people, 3,500 years ago, the time of Ramses, the oxygen content in our atmosphere, oxygen as a gas, was 38%. Today we are just less of 18%. This is what pollution's done. If any of you take in anatomy or physiology, you know that the human body, in order to live in an outside environment, not only has to have certain gravitational needs, but it is to have certain chemicals and gas makeup in an atmosphere. The single most important gas for us is oxygen, and once we drop below 15% the human body starts to suffocate. Now this is why it's so important that Mother Earth has to get into fourth density. Because if the Earth does not move into fourth density, and we do not change what we were doing, and how we were living, according to the Andromedans we have literally 41 years worth of oxygen left in our environment. And folks, they are not going to let us take our shit out into the galaxy. So pardon my French, but that's the reality of it. So we boxed ourselves into this nice neat little corner, so we have to evolve. We have no other way to go. And I always think of that line in It was some movie, some line, when this ET looks at this guy. I don't know who he was, a government guy or something, and he's an alien and he's trying to go home. And he looks at him and says, "You want to know what I like about your race?" The guy looks at him and says, "What?" He says, "When things are their worst, that's when you're at your best." It's a damn shame that we have to push ourselves to that. We have a knack for doing that. We really do. Let's push it to the limit and let's see how much she can take. Okay, now, here it is. There will not be a nuclear war on the planet. There's a 95% probability of a nuclear bomb will go off inside the United States between now and the year 2001. It will be terrorists. There are a lot of people on the planet that are very angry with the United States government. Not the people, but the government, primarily CIA, NSA. And we have some responsibility there because we let them do it. The government was created to be in our care and we dropped the ball. We let the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. And now we're all screaming and bitching about it and nobody wants to take responsibility. It's our job. We pretty much cover everything. Any questions? Q. In order for our planet to reach fourth density, 10% people have to be aware? AC. We need at least 10% consciousness in the planet. Now my understanding is that's happening.